Hello and welcome to another edition of Business Today, ladies and gentlemen, where we discuss and analyze the progress of a particular company. The company that we will be analyzing today is none other than Pejenca Industrial Supply Limited, which is a small, medium-sized company actually, a Canadian medium-sized company. Pejenca is a company that has been growing at a very steady rate as the company's sales increased 23%, and they entered the $5 million mark in 2001 and 2002. Now, because of this initial growth, Pejenca's president, Peter Charles, has went on and said that due to this growth, the company will need a lot more space to accumulate more inventory. So Peter Charles has gone on to say that the company will require a $150,000 extension in order to accumulate more inventory in order to meet customer demand. He wants to stay away from debt and he wants funding. Now let me ask you, Mr. Charles, do you think money falls out of the sky? Because it does not. You have to have some type of debt, and usually companies do end up getting some type of debt. And now, we're going to go off to an interview with Mr. Charles. We had two management consultants from HMM Managerial Consultants catch up with Mr. Peter Charles. And this is what Mr. Charles had to say to them.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Bob, and this is Dana. And we're from HMM Managerial Consultants. You can also say, Today we have Mr. Peter Charles with us, who's going to be talking to us about his company, Pejenca Industrial Supply Limited. Peter Charles is going to tell us about his company's loan issue that he seems to have, and how he can finance a certain funding that is required for a company building extension. So first off, I'm going to give it to Dana, who's going to give him some recommendations. Off to you, Dana.
Hi, Mr. Charles.
Hey, Dana.
We looked at a lot of different options for your need of $150,000 per company. And the first option we came up with was the wages plan. So looking at your financial statements, we saw that the company has spent, over the past few years, the company has spent a considerable amount of their money on wages itself. And we feel that by reducing this amount, by not a lot, because then your employers aren't going to feel too happy. If we reduce it even by a little, we can use that extra cash plus the cash from the company to finance the expansion.
Now I'm going to ask you something. What do you think about debt? Because I heard you don't
hate it.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. A lot of entrepreneurs do. That's perfectly fine. Well, Mr. Charles, I have to tell you something. You have to look at reality. Reality is big companies, medium companies, and small companies, they all require debt at some point. And your company, at some point, will require debt. And you have to understand that if you get debt right now, it could be any amount. It doesn't have to be a very big amount. But if you get even a decent amount of debt.
But I have been quite clear on this. I'm absolutely uncomfortable with debt.
But you have to understand, your company is stable enough to take debt and pay it off later. You don't have to pay it right now. You can pay it off in a certain amount of time, obviously. You can have 1 year, or you can have 2 or 3, or 4 or 5. You know, it goes on and on. You have to understand
I'm quite clear on how debt works. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, so the plan is, you use a bit of debt, okay? You use a bit of equity financing. You, as an owner, have to finance the company with some of your own money, and you use some of the cash that your company has on hand. Now that allows you to finance that extension that you're looking for, $150,000. Otherwise, Mr. Charles, you know what to say. No cash, no extension. Cash is king.
We're going to take you live to room 130 at the Knapp Center at the University of Toronto of Mississauga, where Hanad, Maiga and McNeil have prepared a wonderful presentation to make things a lot clearer for Mr. Charles. And please, Mr. Charles, like I said, for future reference, if you don't have the funding, don't start a company so you won't have to beg for money, alright? Let's go to 130, folks.